All right, we're back on Steel City. I'm your host, Andre Duke. Appreciate everybody hopping in and checking it out here tonight. If you're new to this content, hit that like and subscribe button. Help us grow this thing. Whenever we get this channel, um, the main channel where we need it to be, we're going to will most definitely go to Steel City being on its own channel. So that is that. But if your first time here, hit that like and subscribe button. Help us grow this thing. That is what we're here to do. Talking a little Steelers today. They're in the process of making final cuts. We'll see what comes out of that. They've already cut some guys already. Nobody that I can surmise of serious note. Um, I think that going forward, one of the strange things coming out of Pittsburgh is they're real fascinated. The uh, the beat writers are real fascinated on the status of Will Howard, which I think that's kind of interesting to say the least. I don't know why they are all up in Will Howard's grill on this one. Um, I think it's just kind of bizarre to me, to be honest. I just don't get it because Aaron Rodgers is the starter. That's kind of what it is. So I don't understand why they keep reporting that Will Howard's going to be back or this is happening or that is happening. He's not the starting quarterback for all intents and purposes. I don't think anybody's really seen a depth chart, so he's probably going to be the number 3, if I would say, and probably Skylar Thompson on the practice squad. But I think that the way that it's going down, I almost want to say I think that Skylar Thompson will probably, and I don't know if he'll make the roster, but I feel like it'll be um, it'll be one of those things that he's going to be on the practice squad, and that's just what it is. I'm trying to pull up the depth chart. Skylar Thompson, from according to ESPN.com, Skylar Thompson is the number 4, Will Howard number 3. But some of the guys that they let a host of guys go today. Um, so I'm just kind of curious on that. For some reason, that's not working. But yeah, so I guess we'll dive into it for the most part. Derek Harmon looks like he's going to be back. Had a slight scare on the knee injury. Not shocking that they're going to take some probably extra time with him to see how that is going to pan out. I think that is something that needs to be done. He's your first round pick. You do not want to overstress it to where it's a lingering injury. I find it very interesting on how they're taking that approach there. Trying to pull up the transactions so we can go through and see if there's anybody of any meaningful note. As I'm reading through it, they cut a tight end, long snapper, a couple of offensive linemen. I believe all the final cuts got to be done by tomorrow. I want to say by 4 p.m. That's when they got to have the full 53 man plus the practice squad all carved out. I almost kind of think that if they put Skylar Thompson on the practice squad, he might get claimed off of waivers, or he might get claimed. That's kind of where I'm at on that. I think that some of the guys that have been let go, that's just what the NFL is. Um, that's what it comes down to. So there's that. But we'll turn ahead and look at the first part of the schedule here. Obviously, the Steelers open with at the Jets. I think that I mean the NFL knows what they're doing when it comes to scheduling that game. Um, the Jets, then they got Seattle at home, then they go on the road at New England. And then after New England, they pack up their bags and head to Ireland. And I don't know if they're playing in the same stadium as they did for the college football game, but hopefully it does not rain over there because it was a soupy, sloppy mess over there in Ireland. So I would think that hopefully they've got some of those field drainage issues figured out, or maybe they're playing at a different stadium. Not 100% sure, but that's that. And then they come back, and then the real divisional play of it really gets started because they open with Cleveland, and they go on the road on a short week to Cincinnati. I think that's going to be a really tough stretch for Pittsburgh out of the gate, and I'm not going to discount what New England quite possibly could be. The last time the Steelers played in, I believe it was London when they played Minnesota, that ended up in a tie. So I believe that was the last time the Steelers went overseas. If I'm correct on that, just let me know in the chat. But yeah, so the season's here. The final roster cuts are going to be made, and we're going to see what Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers are going to be doing this year. So that's pretty much where that is at. Just scrolling through some stuff real quick. I mean, I think the Steelers got off lucky with the Derek Harmon being a MCL sprain. That's it. Just got to be patient and keep that. I'm not saying baby it, but don't send him back out there before he's ready. Some stuff going on. Just looking at some of .com's projections here. Yeah, I kind of agree with everything they got. It's really fascinating to me. The Steelers are going to carry 4 tight ends. I think that's one of the more fascinating things going into it. Jonnu Smith, Connor Hayward, Darnell Washington, and Pat Freiermuth. I think that at some point there's going to be some things that happen. I think it's a real competition because when Jonnu Smith plays, I think the Steelers stole from Miami on that one. I think it's just mainly because Miami did not want to. Miami did not want to try to re-sign him. I think Miami's kind of up against it when it comes to the cap. So I think the Steelers gotta steal there. Now, who do you keep? I would say Freiermuth and Connor Hayward might be the odd men out in this whole deal. That's just kind of where I'm at on it. Obviously, the Jalen Ramsey trade, so there's that. But that's pretty much what we got going on for the Steelers. But if this is your first time watching the show, hit that like and subscribe button. Help us grow this thing. Steel City's a short half-hour show. We got 2 segments left. Also got the got the live on TikTok rolling. Appreciate you guys liking that up as well. But here's an interesting thing that happened. Philadelphia's kind of been active with the back end of um, their trades that they've been making the last couple of days. Fred Johnson wins the Super Bowl in February, signs with Jacksonville as a free agent in March, and in August he is also the Jaguars put him back on the trading block. Um, I'm not shocked that Philly would do some things like that. Go get a guy back that they wanted. That's just kind of how Philly operates as a whole, to be honest. Um, there's that, and that's just kind of what it is. They went back and got their guy, and then also Anthony Richardson comparison to Tim Tebow. More turnovers, less yards, 3% difference in completion percentage. But see, the difference between Tebow and Anthony Richardson, they both went to Florida, but Tebow started a ton more games in college than AR5 did. I look at this and I think to myself, where does Anthony Richardson go from here? Where does he go next? I don't see it as far as him getting another opportunity. He might get one more opportunity in the NFL, to be honest, and I think he's going to have to fight for it. I'm not attacking the character of the kid or anything like that. It's just I think when it comes down to brass tacks, when push comes to shove, he wasn't getting it done, and that's how he lost the job to Daniel Jones. And that's just life in the NFL. Typically, every year they are drafting guys at positions, and if they draft somebody at your position, A, they either think you're not getting the job done, or B, they think they can get better, and that's what NFL teams do all the time. And judging by the cuts and everything that's going on, although it is soft, that Hard Knocks doesn't show that anymore. That was something that they used to do back in the day. Whenever you did watch Hard Knocks, it was grab your playbook, coach needs to see, and that was typically the kiss of death for a lot of guys' dreams in the NFL. That's where a lot of dreams went to die. But in other news going around the league, Trey Hendricks gets his big pay bump. The pass rusher will get a $14 million raise, total salary $30 million. Over sources tell ESPN. So he's getting pretty much a double of his pay raise after having a good year, Cincinnati being cheap. Also, I thought it was very funny that Boomer Esiason put the Brown family on blast over, I think it was Fridays when Boomer did it. They sent him an email. They sent a generic email. There's only, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 guys in the Bengals Ring of Honor. And they sent him that email, and so Boomer starts reading it live on air, which the radio station that he works for is huge, because it used to be Boomer and Carton or something like that. That used to be the show before Craig got fired. But Boomer's he's on a massive, I think one of the radio stations in New York, and he read the email in its totality, and basically the Cliff Notes version of it was, the Bengals have reserved a block of rooms at the hotel, blah, 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 blah. And you're thinking that, you're going to get, you would think that they would at least pay for your room. They want you to come, right? Oh, no. Cincinnati told him to book early so you get the best rate. I just think that is just so Cincinnati, to be honest. That is something that the Bengals would do. Um, that's just kind of what they are, to be honest. If you look at the T. Higgins situation, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, the Burrow stuff, I don't think they really had options on that, but they tried to drag the field. Trey Hendricks, they have the Shamar Stewart stuff. Haven't really dove too much into that, but it just seems like Cincinnati just is literally the gang that can't shoot straight, cannot get out of their own way. Just looking at it, yeah, it's just typical Cincinnati being Cincinnati. Also, Amari Cooper reunited with the Raiders for a 1-year deal. I would say that this is probably it for Amari Cooper. If I had to guess, I would say that he's probably going to retire. I don't think you sign a 1-year deal back in Vegas for nothing, or unless it's a prove it deal, unless he still thinks he can play. Interesting stuff coming out of Houston right now. ESPN.com reports Houston Texans running back Joe Mixon won't be active from the non-football injury list by Tuesday, 4 p.m., the deadline making him ineligible to play at least the first 4 games of the season due to an ankle injury. So that makes it interesting. Houston doesn't have a running back. They list other people that are it is what it is. Joe Mixon's he's not going to be available. I get why they didn't want to put him on the PUP list, because if you put him on the PUP list, I think he's got to be out 6 weeks. So that's kind of what that is. And then Jakobi Meyers is seeking an extension / trade request. Well, I think Jakobi, you are going to get you're going to get a reprieve on that, brother. That's what I think is going to happen, because I think you're getting traded, and I don't know what his relationship is with Pete Carroll and how much GM power Pete Carroll has. He was the GM in Seattle. So I think that Jakobi Meyers, it used to be the joke of the century is that we'd send you to Cleveland. So Jakobi Meyers, you might be a Brown, fine sir. You might be part of the Cleveland Browns or the Carolina Panthers or somebody like that is maybe willing to pay you the money. So that's kind of what. I mean, they just signed Amari Cooper. Like in the NFL, they will sign somebody to replace you, because there's always that next hungry guy. The whole crap sandwich that is going on in Dallas. The headline reads, Dak Prescott hoping that Micah Parsons is ready to play. At first, it was Prescott said, I told y'all that way back, and I'm just getting off of an experience, honestly, no different than mine. I've got confidence in that, just hoping, which I know he is ready to play. Here's the deal. And I don't really want to spend a lot of time on this, because Dallas is just drama filled. When it comes down to this, Jones is a type A personality, loves his players. Well, Jerry tries to negotiate the deal that's in his interest. I mean, he owns the team. So I would hate to see it, but see, ever since Jerry has owned the Cowboys, they've never had a GM, and that's been, I think, part of Dallas's issue. And I think, Jerry's made some good draft picks, but he's also had a ton of swing and misses as well. And I think that at the end of the day, Jerry Jones is not going to be told how to do his business. I mean, he's a billionaire. He owns the Dallas Cowboys. That's just kind of what that is. He's not going to be told how to conduct his business. It was a rock fight with Dak. It's anybody trying to get an extension out of Jerry, it's pretty much been a rock fight. I mean, it's not like it is in Cincinnati, but I think Jerry likes the drama. He's the only owner that holds a press conference after the games. Unless something happens. He's pretty much the only owner that holds his own press conference after the games. So you want to know why Dallas hasn't done anything since like 95, 96? It's kind of where it's at. But I mean, he's the boss. He signs the paychecks. So Jerry's the one that's got to live with the losing, not I. But that's just kind of where I'm at on it. It doesn't really bother me whether wins or loses. I mean, ESPN can't stop talking about him, but I mean, this is just on me on the soapbox here for a second on the ESPN Dallas Cowboys thing. The only teams they talk about is the Dallas Cowboys, the Jets, the Giants, and the Eagles. That's it. That's the four mainstays. They don't talk about the Dolphins. They don't talk about the Steelers. And then they talk about the super dominant Chiefs at the moment because, the Chiefs have won a couple of Super Bowls. That's the only reason they talk about Kansas City. If you go back to pre-Mahomes, pre-Travis Kelce, pre-Swift, where were the Chiefs at? That's just pretty much no one talked about them when Alex Smith was the quarterback and they had Andy Reid, and it's like, well, maybe they'll win. Now it's the Chiefs kingdom, whatever. So there's that. Terry McLaurin gets a huge deal. Shout out from Indy, went to Cathedral, ex of Ohio State. He receives a $30 million signing bonus, so he just got paid. So he's already been fined $104,000 for missing a 3-day mandatory minicamp in June. I would say that that's money well spent. That's pretty much it, but it's a 3-year, $96 million deal. He gets $30 million up front, so that helps out on the cap. I'm sure the Commanders didn't want to botch that. They didn't want to mess that up. That's just kind of where it's at. And then news out of Detroit, Hendon Hooker cut. Kyle Allen wins the backup job there. So I think that's pretty much kind of set in stone. I think that, Hendon Hooker had the knee injury at the end of his college career, was looked to be a promising pro, and kind of didn't work out for him. The Bears, I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't sign with the Bears. That's if I had anybody to bank on that, I would say he'll sign with the Bears. His the only OC he's ever had has been there. That's kind of where I think I would look for it to be, where he would end up. And then Desmond Watson, the 450-pound Florida Gator, the huge dude, never practiced or did anything. He was too big. Watson officially listed at 449 pounds. So the crux of it is Watson was 450 pounds when he played for the Gators. He lost 1 pound. Never took a snap at all. Todd Bowles' quote after that was, I'd like to have some long-term plans for him going forward because he's making some progress. I feel like down the line he can help us, but we'll have those conversations towards the end of the week. And then it says, in other news, on Monday, the Bucs plan to release QB Kyle Trask. Sources tell ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Teddy Bridgewater came out of retirement to sign on August 5th, becomes the primary backup for Baker Mayfield. Well, I guess my only thing is with that they have since they've done that, Teddy Bridgewater serving the year suspension at Miami North. I'm wondering just this: whenever his suspension from the Florida Athletic Association is up, is Teddy Bridgewater going to go back to coaching? I bet he does. And he really was doing the right things, helping those kids at Miami North. The crazy thing is that they made a documentary about a player that's from that high school where Teddy Bridgewater played or was the head football coach. It's called Year of the Bull. I think you got to buy it on DVD, but it's a real interesting look at Liberty City, North Miami. That whole high school, that whole thing out there. It's very telling that, I mean, it's a rough neighborhood, to be honest with you. A lot of crime, and it follows that kid around for the year. It's, a documentary. They end up making it to state and they end up losing. And because it was so long ago, I think that documentary was made over 25 years ago, I want to say. So I think it was made over 25 years ago, and some of it still resonates now, which is very interesting to me, to be honest. That's just kind of where that's at. But like I said, that's pretty much everything that's going on in the NFL right now. Not a ton of Steeler topics at the moment. Have a whole week off before the season actually gets underway and starts. I guess we'll see where the Steelers are at week one. The Justin Fields experiment is going to go on in New York. I hope for the Justin Fields lovers. Here we go. More hats than Neo implies combined. A lot of people are saying the Steelers finishing below 500. I'm not buying that with $1. Corey here sounds like we aren't pressed to find a wide receiver 2 once again this year. The one thing I'll say on that, Corey, is for the wide receiver 2, I think it's going to be Roman Wilson. I think they're going to give him a legitimate shot to take that job. And also, let's not forget they have Jonnu Smith, and as long as he's ready to go at the beginning of the year, I think he'll catch 75 to 80 balls this year. I think between Roman Wilson and Jonnu Smith, they'll be able to fill that gap for the wide receiver 2, as quote unquote. It's going to be a little combo package deal with Jonnu Smith, Roman Wilson. Obviously, DK's probably going to get double covered a lot, but if they're getting ate up with Wilson and Smith, I think that it's going to free a lot of things up. And also, I think one thing Pittsburgh's going to make a more conscious effort to do this year is to pound the ball on the ground a little bit more. And I think that, the mutual parting of ways with Najee Harris was best for both worlds, because I don't think in the partnership there, I don't think either side was getting what they wanted. Najee signs a 1-year deal with the Chargers, and he's hoping to get a big payday. He went to the right spot to do it, to be honest. I think that Pittsburgh's going to do a little bit more different things in the run game. There's not going to be somebody demanding the ball, but I will say pretty much everybody that's demanded the ball in Pittsburgh that's went elsewhere has stunk. I don't know about Roman. He looked good against a bunch of 3s and 4s, but he doesn't look like week 1 ready, opposite of DK. Jonnu is healthy right now. We haven't heard much about him since he hurt his knee. Yeah, that's the big question mark. But I think that with them holding him out, they're probably trying to get him healthy. And also, I think that one of the other tight ends needs to step up and make some significant plays this year, i.e. Darnell Washington. He's the guy that I'm looking to take a big leap this year, but I don't know how that's going to mesh with Jonnu Smith. I think Pat Freiermuth is the odd man out in this whole situation. But here's the deal. At the end of the day, I think the offense is going to look, from what the offense was 2 years ago until now, it's going to look totally different, because I think Rodgers is going to be able to distribute the ball and get the ball down the field. That's going to be the main difference. Kenny Pickett couldn't throw it more than 10 yards. No deep shots ever out of Pittsburgh. It didn't really open up the run game. I think Caleb Johnson, the rookie out of Iowa, is going to come in and have a big impact this year on the ground. I don't think Jaylen Warren can handle the bulk of the carries. He's not going to be able to hold up. If they try to run Warren 15, 20 times by week 8, he's going to be toast. So, but there's that. If this is your first time checking out Steel City, we'll be back tomorrow. I don't know if it'll be in the morning or in the evening yet, but just hit that like and subscribe button, turn on those bell notifications so you get notified when we're going live on this channel. In about 27 minutes, we're going to do the college football show. So if you're also a college football fan and want to hop over there, in about 27 minutes, we're going to be doing that live. So there is that. And I am your host, Andre Duke. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Everybody have a good evening.